Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are going on a seriously mind-expanding journey together. We're going to zoom all the way out into the unimaginable vastness of space, and then we'll travel all the way down into the microscopic realities humming inside your very own body. Let's map out the sheer scale of our reality, because I promise you, we're going to see the world just a little bit differently by the end of this.
So, I've got a question for you. What do distant stars, ancient sharks, and your own brain actually have in common? At first glance, literally nothing. But as we follow this cosmic zoom narrative today, we're going to discover exactly how everything connects. We're all passengers on a very strange, very fascinating ride, and these connections, they're way wilder than you might think.
Section 1. The Vastness of Space.
Okay, let's dive right into this, starting with a number that honestly completely breaks our human sense of scale, 1.3 million. Try to wrap your head around what that number actually represents in our solar system. 1.3 million is exactly how many Earths could fit entirely inside our sun. Just picture that. Over a million of our entire worlds, all of our oceans, our mountains, those sprawling cities, packed into just one local star. And the craziest part? In the grand scheme of the galaxy, our sun isn't even a particularly large star.
But hey, size isn't the only weird thing in our cosmic neighborhood. Take the bizarre paradox of Venus. A single day there is actually longer than its entire year. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, Venus rotates on its axis so incredibly slowly that one full spin takes about 243 Earth days. But it's moving through space fast enough that it only takes 225 Earth days to complete its entire orbit around the sun. You would literally celebrate your birthday on Venus before the sun even set.
Now, if you think our local solar system is massive, let's zoom way, way out to the observable universe. I want you to imagine you're standing on a sandy beach. Look down at your feet, pick up a handful of sand, and look at all those tiny individual grains. Now multiply that by every single beach on the entire planet Earth. Out in the cosmos, there are actually more stars in the observable universe than all of those grains of sand combined. It's a profoundly humbling fact, right? It really puts our place in the universe into perspective. And you know, while you're standing on that imaginary beach, looking up at the sky, you probably feel perfectly still. But you're not. We are currently hurtling through space at roughly 107,000 kilometers per hour as Earth travels around the sun. We are standing on a spaceship moving at mind-bending speeds. And while we're taking this high-speed joyride, our loyal companion, the moon, is slowly drifting away from us by roughly 3.8 centimeters every single year. The universe is just in constant, rapid motion.
Section 2, Wonders of the Wild. When we think about ancient life, we naturally kind of assume trees are these foundational pillars of the Earth. We picture ancient forests predating almost everything. But evolutionary history has some pretty wild surprises. Sharks have actually been swimming in our oceans for hundreds of millions of years, meaning they existed long before the very first tree ever sprouted on land. They've survived multiple mass extinctions, silently patrolling the deep, before leaves or bark were even a concept. Nature is just packed with these astonishing biological traits. Honestly, it's almost like science fiction right here on Earth. Take octopuses. They're out there swimming around with 3 hearts pumping literal blue blood through their veins. Blue blood. Up in the air, the bees flying through our gardens possess the computing power to actually recognize individual human faces using complex visual patterns. Meanwhile, you've got certain lizards that have completely bypassed the need for males to reproduce. They just do it entirely on their own through a process called parthenogenesis. And those trees we just mentioned? A single large tree can act as a massive silent hydraulic engine, pumping hundreds of liters of water up through its tissues every single day. Section 3. The Universe Within You. All right, let's zoom in even further, past the trees, past the animals, straight into the microscopic universe operating inside you right now. Your brain makes up only about 2% of your total body weight. It's relatively tiny compared to the rest of your mass, but despite its size, it is an absolute energy hog, demanding roughly 20% of your body's entire energy supply. It burns through calories and oxygen at an astonishing rate, just to keep you thinking, breathing, and functioning. And speaking of our bodies, we tend to focus a lot on how different we look from the person sitting next to us. So, here is the absolutely crucial point: 99.9%. Despite all our perceived differences in appearance or background or origin, on a genetic level, humans share about 99.9% of their DNA with one another.
When we zoom down into the very instructions of our biology, we find that we're vastly more alike than we are different. It's practically a genetic mirror. And the biological engine running that DNA is incredibly tireless. Think about the mechanical endurance inside your chest. Your heart beats around 100,000 times a day, thankfully, without you even having to think about it. Your skeletal structure? Gram for gram, some types of human bone are literally stronger than steel. And right this very second, your eyes and brain are firing in perfect synchronization, working together to process a truly massive amount of complex visual information seamlessly. Your body is just a masterpiece of engineering.
Section 4. The rules of reality.
So we've looked at the macro universe, and we've looked at the micro universe inside you. But what are the actual blueprints making all this possible? Really think about this for a second. Does time tick at the same speed for everyone? We base our whole lives on the steady ticking of a clock, deeply assuming a second for me is exactly the same as a second for you.
But it doesn't. Time actually passes at entirely different rates depending on gravity and speed. And no, this isn't some far-out science fiction concept. This is a proven, experimentally measured prediction of Einstein's theory of relativity. The universe literally bends the rules of time depending on where you're situated in a gravitational field and how fast you happen to be moving through space. And time isn't the only thing defying our basic logic. Take the Mpemba effect, for example. We all intuitively assume cold water turns to ice faster than hot water, right? It just makes logical sense. But physics says otherwise. Under certain conditions, hot water can actually freeze faster than cold water. It's a perfectly weird example of how reality constantly challenges our everyday expectations and proves there is always more to learn. Let's keep going, because these bizarre rules scale up across the entire universe. Deep in space, extreme pressure creates environments where some exoplanets might contain enormous amounts of carbon pressed into diamond-like forms. We are talking literal diamond planets floating in the dark. Meanwhile, if you were floating right next to one, you wouldn't hear a single thing, because sound cannot travel through empty space. It desperately needs matter to carry its vibrations. And right back here on Earth, a simple bolt of lightning can briefly heat the surrounding air to temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun itself. The extremes of physics are everywhere. Section 5. Looking into the past.
As we close the loop on our cosmic zoom, I really want you to remember this exact time, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Because nothing in the universe is instantaneous, not even light. When the sun shines, that light has to travel across the vast emptiness of space, and it takes precisely 8 minutes and 20 seconds for it to finally hit your skin here on Earth. You are feeling the sun as it was over 8 minutes ago. So, if our own sun's light takes over 8 minutes to get here, what does that mean for the rest of the galaxy? The light from distant stars may have traveled for thousands or even millions of years across the void before finally reaching your eyes tonight. The starlight hitting your retina right now left its burning source long before human history even began. You are catching ancient photons at the very end of an unimaginably long journey.
Every single time you look at the stars, you are quite literally looking into the past. You're seeing a glowing ghost of the universe as it was thousands of years ago. So the next time you stand outside, feeling that 99.9% shared human DNA beating in your chest, ask yourself, when you look up at the night sky, whose history are you actually witnessing?